Hello everyone. Today I am excited to show you a multi-agent framework that completely automates the newsletter creation process. All you have to do is enter a topic, a tone, and a target audience, and the system takes care of everything else. From planning and research to writing and even emailing the final newsletter. In this build, we are working with 5 AI nodes: newsletter expert, project planner, research team, editor, and title creator. Collectively, they form what's called a sequential agent framework. The process begins with a simple form trigger, then each agent does its part in a set of order. It's very different from my other personal assistant Pam video or other AI agent builds. Here, the steps are always the same. The newsletter expert plans out the table of contents. Project planner decides how to split the content into separate sections for the research agents. The research team delves into each section to gather information, and the editor compiles and formats all the content, ensuring the links and sources are correct. Finally, the title creator generates a polished headline before sending out the email. Because each agent specializes in one task, you get more consistent results over time. It's a fixed, reliable process that produces some truly immersive outcomes. For instance, here's a finished product, the newsletter. The critical role of motivation in fintech startups. This title was automatically generated as a part of the workflow, and the entire newsletter was built with minimal input, just a topic, a tone, and target audience. In the Make Money with AI Agents community, you'll find plenty of AI agent blueprints ready to use. Also, you'll find hundreds of AI automations blueprint. You can use them directly too. Also, you will access to 14 days AI agency program, 30 days agency developing program, and 30 days AI agent freelancing program. After getting your AI agent blueprint, with just one click, you can import it your NA10 workflow and you are ready to run. Anyway, let's see this workflow in action. So, for this live demo, I'm setting the topic to motivation, keeping the tone professional, and choosing young adults as the target audience. The moment I submit these details, the workflow springs into action, starting with the newsletter expert node, which uses a blend of Tavily and GPT-4 Mini to generate a table of contents. Right after that, the project planner takes over, receiving the table of contents and splitting it into multiple titles and descriptions. In this case, 6 different sections. Now each of these sections goes to its own research team agent, powered by Tavily and Anthropic Claude 3.5. These agents gather articles, URLs, and relevant data, which all merge back together in a single node for the editor. The editor's job is to assemble a cohesive newsletter. It formats each section, ensures inline citations are clickable, and adds a sources section at the end. Finally, the output moves on to the title creator, which crafts a polished headline. After that, Gmail sends the entire formatted newsletter to the recipient. Let's see the result. In my test run, the workflow produced a newsletter titled Future Fitness Trends, Nutrition and Health Insights for Young Adults, with 4 main sections. Sometimes the editor merges or drops sections to maintain flow. Nothing's ever set in stone. You'll see clickable links mentioning things like Amazon deals on treadmills or a consumer report on superfoods. Each section is clearly labeled with a bold heading so readers can skim and click on what interests them most. I also updated the sender name in Gmail to Daily Newsletter. If you wanted to take this further, you could. Schedule it to run periodically. Pull multiple topics from a database, or even share it with a large audience by populating a list of recipients. All you really need to supply is 3 pieces of info: topic, tone, and target audience, which makes it extremely versatile. Next, we'll dig into each node to see how the prompting works. And if it feels like I'm moving quickly, don't worry. You can always download this workflow and experiment at your own pace. It's the best way to truly understand how everything fits together. If you want to follow along in more detail, remember that you can download this workflow for free from my school community. Once you import it into your own N8 and setup, try different form responses to see how the data flows through each node. Let's walk through the steps sequentially. 1. Form trigger. This node captures the topic, tone, and target audience. In our example, that's health and fitness, professional, and young adults, respectively. 2. Passing data to the newsletter expert. Here's where the difference between a user message and a system message comes into play. User message. The dynamic input from your form, i.e. the topic, tone, and audience you typed in. System message. The fixed instructions that define the AI's role and responsibilities. In this workflow, the newsletter expert has a system prompt instructing it to use the tab tool to search for relevant topics. Generate an engaging table of contents based on the provided input. Admittedly, the prompt is a bit longer than necessary. Sometimes a more concise instruction set is enough, but for demonstration purposes, you'll see how each section is carefully created and passed along. 3. Project Planner node. Unlike the newsletter expert node, which is an AI agent, the project planner is set up as an OpenAI message and model node. The prompt here is simpler. Your job is to split out the table of contents into individual sections, each labeled as newsletter sections. This step ensures that each section is listed separately, so we can hand them off to multiple research agents later. You'll notice how each node is purpose-built, one to create a table of contents, another to split that into sections. As a result, each AI task stays laser-focused on a single goal, making the overall output more structured and consistent. 3. Project Planner node. Unlike the newsletter expert node, which is an AI agent, the project planner is set up as an OpenAI message and model node. The prompt here is simpler. Your job is to split out the table of contents into individual sections, each labeled as newsletter sections. This step ensures that each section is listed separately, so we can hand them off to multiple research agents later. You'll notice how each node is purpose-built, one to create a table of contents, another to split that into sections. As a result, each AI task stays laser-focused on a single goal, making the overall output more structured and consistent. Once the project planner has split the table of contents, we end up with a list of title and description pairs, 6 in this example. Each pair then goes to its own research team agent, which uses Staff to fetch relevant sources and Anthropic Claude 3.5, instead of GPT to craft concise, well-researched sections. These research team prompts focus on creating final content for one section of the newsletter. They include guidelines such as use the tab tool to gather authoritative info, cite each major claim with an inline hyperlink, format citations in HTML for clarity and clickability, avoid unnecessary preamble, just provide the section's content. This ensures that each section is independently researched and properly cited. For instance, if you click a hyperlinked reference in the final newsletter, it takes you straight to the article that the agent used, making your content transparent and credible. After each research team node finishes, its output merges back together with the original titles and descriptions. At this point, we have a consolidated list of titles, descriptions, and article text ready for the editor. The editor's role. The editor node is where everything is woven into a polished, well-structured newsletter. Here's a simplified breakdown of the prompt. 1. Create content for each title. Incorporate the research text, preserving any inline citations. 2. Make each section readable. Ensure headings, bullet points, and hyperlinks are displayed correctly. 3. Manage citations and sources. Create a single sources section at the end, listing all URLs in alphabetical order. Keep links functional and clearly formatted as HTML. 4. No extra intro or title. The newsletter itself should start immediately with the first heading. All of this is output in HTML, perfect for email distribution. By the time we finish this step, our newsletter is effectively assembled, citations intact, sections clearly labeled, and everything set up for the final title creator node. After finalizing the editor node and generating a polished newsletter, we feed everything into a title creator node, a simple GPT-based prompt that produces the newsletter's final heading. We instruct it to 1. Use the given newsletter text to craft an engaging title. 2. Capitalize the first letter of each word. 3. Avoid quotation marks or extra text. Once we have the title, we're ready to send it via Gmail. For this demo, I'm using a fixed sender address and a static subject set to the newly generated title with the message body pulled from our editor's HTML output. I also disabled any additional branding from annotating, so the email appears seamless. Expanding or modifying the workflow. There are plenty of ways to tweak this workflow. Auto-posting to LinkedIn or a blog. Connecting it to a database like Airtable, so each record triggers a new newsletter. Experimenting with different AI models or approaches. At its core, the logic remains the same. Gather topics and tone, research them, compile everything in a nicely formatted HTML newsletter, and deliver it. The Tavily workflow. You'll notice the system occasionally sends queries to another workflow called Tavily, or Tav for short. That's simply a custom tool we built to search the internet and return relevant links. When you see multiple runs, like 7 or 8 queries in a row, that indicates how often the research team is gathering extra data. If, for instance, the agent was supposed to find latest fitness trends for young adults, Tavily might have defaulted to 2023 if we didn't specify the current date and time. Adding a date parameter fixes that. Each of the 6 research nodes receives a unique prompt, like superfoods for optimal health or mental health benefits of exercise. Queries Tavily and returns article snippets. The editor uses those snippets to maintain a consistent, well-researched newsletter. This bit might be a bit different from usual AI agent projects, but it's been a lot of fun and I think it has a huge potential for anyone wanting an automated, research-driven newsletter. If you download the workflow from my school community, you can experiment with different prompts, examine each node, and watch how the data flows step by step. If you found this helpful or enjoyed following along, please leave a like. It really helps support the channel, and thanks for sticking around to the end. I'll catch you in the next video.